You're listening to Ask Dr. Jake. My name is Dr. Jake Tucker. I'm the owner and founder here at Good Life Family Chiropractic on the south side of Lincoln. And I'm coming to you today with another message of hope, health, and wholeness. And I wanted to talk to you today about a condition that your medical doctor or your orthopedist might refer to as adult spinal deformity. Adult spinal deformity is a medical term for simple condition known as subluxation. Now, I misspoke there. I said it's simple. Subluxation is one of the most complex medical conditions we know of because most people aren't aware of how that forms. Even medical doctors are unaware of its presence or even its effects until you become symptomatic. And this is actually where chiropractors specialize. Now, adult spinal deformity, there was research done just recently, as recently as 2017, that talked about adult spinal deformity. And what this is a misalignment of the spine in specific degrees. So a scoliosis of 20 degrees or more, a over curvature, what we call a hyperkyphosis of the thoracic spine of 60 degrees or more, which is more than 15 degrees away from its normal position, a misalignment side to side of some key spots in your spine of 5 centimeters or more. And what they did is they looked at this and its effect on disability. And so if you know you have a scoliosis, if you know you have a hyperkyphosis in your thoracic spine, if you know you have chronic head forward posture, your head sits way too far out the shoulders, you need to listen up right here, because here's what the medical research said. It said that people that have adult spinal deformity, their disability level is greater than those people that have chronic degenerative diseases. Let me say that again. People with adult spinal deformity have more disability on average than any chronic disability out there that you can diagnose. And so what does this mean for you? Well, statistically, 80% of Americans will fall into this category by the age of 80, unless they start taking care of their spine today. Remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Most scoliosis, even the ones that they were measuring in this study, are inoperable until they cross the 40-degree mark. You don't get a fusion surgery on a scoliosis until after it's 40 degrees. And then what's that going to cost you? It's over $1 million of care on a scoliosis for the rest of your life that you will do if you wait until it's a medically treatable condition. But if you proactively start building your health, what we see is that people that spend money consistently on chiropractic maintenance care, and so what they did is they took a group of people that had been getting consistent maintenance care for 5 years or more. Those people saved on average over 2/3 the cost of people that weren't getting chiropractic care. They had 98% less visits, get this, to the ER. They had 80% less pharmaceutical purchases and costs. And you just go down the line, they had less than 60% hospital visits, less than 60% doctor's visits. And that's with adding the chiropractor into all this stuff. And so, we see this in the office. And I actually had a patient come over to my office from Omaha, because we are the only 5 Essential certified practice in the state of Nebraska. And she came over because her husband was dealing with some hip and low back pain. And we went in and we did an exam on him, and we saw that he had a scoliosis and had been building there for some time. He'd lost some of the integrity and the structure of his neck, and that adult spinal deformity was starting to interfere with the expression of life and health and vitality across his nervous system. So we started him under care, and she said, well, let's go ahead and get my spine checked. And she'd been dealing with a little bit of back and hip pain when she ran, so she was avoiding running. Long-term runner. She didn't want to quit running, but it felt better to not run, so she stopped running. And she was dealing with thyroid condition for years and years. We looked at her spine, and guess what we found? A scoliosis in her low back affecting her pelvis, and we found ligament damage in the joints around where the nerves exit out that control her thyroid. So let me riddle you this. There's a lot of things that you can do for a thyroid. We have a whole thyroid protocol that involves certain nutrients and detoxification and avoiding certain chemicals and exercising in a particular way. But let's say we do all of that and we completely ignore the joint that's supposed to be protecting the nerve going to her thyroid. Is her thyroid going to get healthier if it's disconnected from her brain? The answer is no. It cannot. The control mechanism for her thyroid is the brain-thyroid connection, that nerve that exits out of the spinal cord and is being damaged anytime she moves her neck. And so we started her under care. And we got in about a month. And what we saw was an incredible transformation. That head forward posture that she had started to come back. The integrity of that joint starting to come back. An increased function across her entire nervous system. And that's the same change I want for you. And so if you want results like Sherry, I encourage you to pick up the phone and call my office. 531-289-7100. Again, that's 531-289-7100. Write that number down. Call me now, because what we're doing is we're setting up a 50% discount for the first 5 callers today that come into our office to get their nervous system evaluated. And that includes a full digital nerve scan, and if necessary, we take x-rays here as well to see exactly what's going on. And from there, we sit down with you, we go through a plan to get correction, and then we see how you respond to an adjustment so that we can finalize that plan. And then we work through that process together, what it looks like to get care, what it looks like to get corrected, and we'll do that better than 99% of doctors out there, because we know how to fix the spine. We know what those steps are. And while we don't do that on our own, together, you and I will work on that and we'll build that plan. And so this is just incredible. This is something that the medical system misses completely. You know, we talk about an ounce of prevention being worth a pound of cure, and we brush our teeth and we floss our teeth and we go to the gym and we do our exercises and we take our multivitamins, but the most important system in the body is completely ignored by our current health culture and medical paradigm until it becomes symptomatic. We wait until it hurts. We wait until there's a neurological symptom, and then we go to the doctor, and then he gives us a drug. And if that drug doesn't cover up the symptom well enough, then we go back to the doctor, try to get a different diagnosis, maybe a different drug. And if that doesn't work, we go to a special doctor, in this case, a neurologist. He's going to give us a neurological diagnosis, give us a neurological drug, all at a neurological price. And believe me, you're going to be paying a lot of money to see this neurologist. And if that drug doesn't cover up your symptom well enough, then he's going to send you to a neurosurgeon who is going to do neurosurgery on you. And you're going to pay a neurosurgeon's price on that surgery to remove tissue that God put there, or to start to interact in a way that God put tissues to interact for, without ever addressing the cause. Now, in a crisis, this may actually be the best approach. If you've had a car accident, you broke your neck, you may need to have a neurosurgeon do a fusion surgery. But if you've done what most people do, and that's just ignore your spine and go through the normal wear and tear of life, what causes adult spinal deformity? Thoughts, traumas, and toxins. The 3 T's of subluxation. Thoughts. Number 1, stress adds subluxation to your spine. What does stress do? Well, stress it sets you off into a sympathetic tone. When you're in a sympathetic tone, everything hunches up and tightens down. You get ready to spring. It's like you're getting ready to fight off a tiger or run away from it. All of us are under stress this year more than ever. What's one of the best ways to get rid of stress? An adjustment at C1, at the base of your skull, or at the base of your spine in your sacrum, or maybe a combination of the 3. We have protocols specifically for stress. Very often, stress itself will misalign your spine because of that hunched posture that you start to take. If you have chronic stress, your spine starts to adapt chronically into a chronic subluxation pattern, creating that adult spinal deformity. Number 2, traumas, physical traumas, a car accident, just sitting at a desk for 6 to 8 hours a day. These add misalignments to your spine, whether that's a whiplash-like type trauma that whips everything out forcibly, or a chronic posture like a bad running form where you're limping and it creates this misalignment in the hips, which ends up twisting the spine and creating a scoliosis. The sitting at a desk, which decreases the curve in your low back, heightening that kyphosis between the shoulders through that thoracic spine and adding pressure to the neurology. The last one would be toxins. If you have a toxic stress on your body, it will actually start to create physical misalignments of the spine to adapt and protect your spine from those toxic exposures. If you have those exposures in your body, you will have subluxation. And I have yet to meet someone who's exempt from those. And yet we aren't trained in how to take care of your spine. We aren't trained in how to brush and floss our spine like we are our teeth. You can replace your teeth, but you can't replace your spine. And so that's where a chiropractor comes in. That's where someone like me who specializes in structural correction, advanced structural correction. I have my level 2 certification through Max Living so that I can deliver the highest level of corrective care possible. And I do that for you because I know that you don't have access to that here in Nebraska without it. If you come through here, we're giving you a 50% discount today for the first 5 callers to anyone who calls right now to set up an appointment for this week. 531-289-7100. And what we're going to do is for those people that set up an appointment for this week, so that's before Friday, we're going to throw in a digital copy of our Healthy for the Holidays cookbook. It's got my favorite chocolate cake recipe in there, a great pumpkin pie recipe, and we'll make sure you get a copy of that as well. But make sure to request that when you call. That's 531-289-7100. And I know some of you aren't listening on the radio. You can find this show, this Ask Dr. Jake show, every day, every weekday on KCRO at 9:30 a.m. And whether that's at KCROradio.com or going to their Facebook page or finding this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, if you go to Google Podcasts, if you like to listen via Stitcher, you can also go to our Facebook page, Ask Dr. Jake, and you can also find us at I'm blanking. We're all over the place. GoodLifeFamilyChiropractic.com, our website, and you can actually request a free virtual consultation there if you want to talk about some of your conditions more specifically. You'll get 15 minutes on the phone with me to kind of go through what's going on with you and see if there's something that I can offer you. But yeah, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and click the like button. Share this with a friend that may need to hear how taking care of their spine actually leads to improved health. And you can join me every day at 9:30 a.m. or 10:15 p.m. here on KCRO Radio, 660 a.m. out of Omaha, 106.7 FM here in Lincoln. I'm Dr. Jake. I'll see you again tomorrow for another episode of Ask Dr. Jake.